what are the qualifications of that person? Well, that person, there are many different qualifications. In the beginning of the Nectar of Instruction, the Upadeshamrita, again by Srila Rupa Goswami, he says that Guru can be with Vacho Vegam, Manasakroda Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Udarapasta Vegam, Etam Vegan, Vishaheta Diraha. That one who can control the different Vegams, Vacho Vegam, Manasakroda Vegam, the urges of the tongue, the urges of the mind, Vacho Vegam, Manasa, Kroda, the urges of anger, one who can control his tongue, belly, and genitals. So one has to be self-controlled. Then this person is qualified to make disciples all over the world. So one has to be self-controlled, but that's not just for a day or two, but one actually has to be self-controlled long-term for some time. Also, one has to be, spiritual master has to be learned in the Shastra, learned in Scripture, and is able to repeat and explain the knowledge given in the Shastra. One has to be a serious practitioner and has to basically come to a platform of being at least somewhat self-realized and acting on the spiritual platform, not on the mundane platform. Is all this making sense, or am I just talking too much? I think maybe if you ask a sage a question, be prepared to hear some answers. So,
well, definitely this sage, clearly. But no, please continue. It's enlightening.
Okay, so so the bona fide spiritual master is coming in the line of disciplic succession and simply repeats what he has heard from the previous acharyas without any interpretation or adding his or her own slant onto it. The spiritual master is meant to be a transparent via medium coming from Krishna. So whatever has been passed down, he simply repeats. Like Srila Prabhupada gives the example of the postman. You know, the postman doesn't have anything to do with the specific letter as such. He's just delivering the message. So in the same way, the spiritual master delivers the message that's come from Krishna. And in that way, because he's delivering the message that has come from Krishna, he becomes as good as Krishna. Because the message of Krishna, the words of Krishna, the words of God, they are as good as God. God's name and God's pastimes, His Leela, His form, His entourage, His qualities, they are as good as Him. So one who repeats this knowledge is because they're repeating exactly what's come from Krishna, from God, then they become as good as God. And so in this way, the spiritual master is to be worshipped as good as God. But this can be confusing because the spiritual master is not to be considered God, because God is God, but the spiritual master, because he's a via medium and he's bringing it, then, like the postman example, then he is to be worshipped as good as God because he's giving the direct message of God, and the spiritual master becomes our conduit for a relationship with God. So therefore, in that sense, whatever offerings we make, if we're going to cook something and offer to Krishna, we would first offer it to our spiritual master, our Diksha Guru. And in this way, he offers it to his spiritual master, and he offers it to his spiritual master all the way up to Krishna. So this means that he becomes our conduit. So anything becomes that we do gets offered through the spiritual master. Anyway, there are many, many things that we can say about this. Now, how do we find a spiritual master? That was the other question, right?
Yeah.
Well, tadvidi prani patena pariprashnena sevya upadakshanti te ganam gananas tattva darshanaha. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says to Arjuna, just try to learn the truth. So first of all, try to learn the truth. So we have to first have an eagerness to try to understand the truth. There's a famous saying that when the student is ready, the teacher will arrive. So first we have to prepare ourselves. Now one may argue, how can I prepare myself if I don't have a teacher, if I don't have a guru? Well, first we have to have the desire. And from that desire, Krishna will send teachers. Diksha Guru may come later, but at least initially there'll be Shiksha Guru. And for many of us who are practitioners of bhakti within ISKCON and the Krishna consciousness movement, Srila Prabhupada is our Shiksha Guru. In fact, he is the Shiksha Guru for everyone within ISKCON for all time. He is what's known as the preeminent Shiksha Guru. He is the founder Acharya. So he's laid down and provided the teachings upon which all successor spiritual teachers, spiritual masters and gurus must base their teachings and their guidance and giving of the philosophy. So for all of us, if we dive into the Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, then Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada is there to guide and teach us and to help us to become qualified. We associate with other devotees and they give us guidance about how to start chanting, how to hold the beads, what books to read first, or help to answer our questions when we first start to read the books. This is still Guru. This is Guru. So from the moment we begin to inquire or question, then Guru appears. And Guru has already likely manifested and appeared in our life, just maybe not the Diksha Guru as of yet. Of course, generally, traditionally, the Diksha Guru is the person from whom we take the most shiksha. And then that person becomes our Diksha Guru. But if you're searching, first you have to inquire. So first we have to have the desire. Tadvidi pranipatena, pri-prashnaya. First, just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively. So we have to be submissive in our inquiry. Render service unto him, and those persons can give us spiritual knowledge because they have seen the truth. They have understood it. They have tattva darshana. They have seen the truth. So like this. My strong suggestion is some years ago, ISKCON introduced a course called the ISKCON Disciple Course, which helps to educate a disciple about understanding the qualifications they have to become a disciple, as well as understanding how to recognize a bona fide spiritual master and understanding the process by which one can accept formally through the process of Diksha, initiation, a Diksha Guru, a spiritual master. It's a huge topic, but there is a course, and I recommend that you try to find the course. There are courses online that you can take, and also we run the courses regularly through ISKCON-London. So if you're interested to know more, that's the way that I suggest. Otherwise, I could talk for hours on this topic because I do teach the ISKCON Disciple Course and have taught many years.
And you can just talk in general.
And I can just talk in general. But if you have any more questions, I'd be happy to answer them. And I hope I have. Have I answered the questions, do you think?
I think so, yes. Hare Krishna. Thank you, random sage. I'll leave you to your meditation or whatever you were doing on this bench in this garden, surprise garden. I don't know, surprises, where.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Rama,
Hare Krishna. Hope we answered your questions, Dawn. If not, put it in the comments below and I'll find another sage, random sage to ask to. Or this one. Hare Krishna.